Happy Friday, church! I hope each of you are staying safe and are remaining in good spirits during this time. During the last couple of weeks, my wife April has been on a mission to clean our entire house like it's never been cleaned before. One particular evening, as we were organizing our stuff, we came across a bin full of my childhood schoolwork. Each year, my mom would collect all the important projects and papers that we as kids had accumulated, and then she would make a personalized scrapbook with them for us to look back on as we got older. It was interesting to relive some of those memories through the scrapbook, but what really stuck out to me was a comment that I had made in a journal from grade 2. 8-year-old Robert wrote this: "On Monday, I went to see the baby. I got to hold her. When I put my hand in her hand, she grabbed it. When I talked to the baby, she recognized my voice from when I talked to her when she was still in my mom's tummy." To give you some context, my youngest sister had just been born that weekend. The idea that she would have recognized my voice is obviously quite crazy, but the fact that I was aware of this concept tells me that this was most likely something that my parents had known and that they had discussed. Scientific studies have proven that an infant's brain does in fact recognize their mother's voice. Even in an ocean of other noises and other sounds, a baby can actually accurately pick out the voice of their mother. How do we know this? Because the faintest sound of the mother's voice, even in the midst of other noises, was enough to activate brain activity in the baby. There's no other person in the world that could elicit such a response from the baby but the mother. Incredible, isn't it? How intimate the connection between a mother and her child. In John chapter 10, verses 1 to 5, John writes of a similar connection, and that is between a shepherd and a sheep. He writes this: "I tell you the truth, the man who does not enter the sheep pen by the gate, but climbs in by some other way, is a thief and a robber. The man who enters by the gate is the shepherd of his sheep. The watchman opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name, and he leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes ahead of them, and his sheep follow him because they know his voice. But they will never follow a stranger. In fact, they will run away from him because they do not recognize a stranger's voice." Jesus goes on in the next few verses to explain that he is the shepherd and that we are the sheep. I've always been amazed at how a shepherd can enter a crowded flock and call out his own sheep simply by the tone of his voice. They recognize it, and they come running. As with the mother and her baby, the common denominator in both of these analogies is the intimacy created simply by spending time together. Here, John is reminding us that Jesus is the shepherd who leads us in the way we should go, and that the only proper way to know his voice is to spend quality time together with him. It is no secret that our world is currently in an unprecedented time in history. Every day brings new realities, new worries, and new concerns. There are many voices swirling around in the news and on social medias, even from our friends and colleagues. How do we ensure that we can recognize and follow Jesus' voice, even in the midst of all the competing voices in our world? Well, it starts with spending time in his company. I want to challenge each of you, whether you are laid off and at home with tons of spare time on your hands, or even if you are continuing with work as usual, to spend less time listening to the voices of media that inspire fear, and to spend more time intentionally seeking Jesus in the pages of Scripture which inspire hope. Start a daily Bible reading plan. Keep a prayer journal of your feelings and of your fears, and make note of the ways in which Jesus has responded to them. Of all the cancellations that are going on, don't let your devotional time be one of them. Use this time to get more intimately acquainted with your shepherd, Jesus, and to know his voice. Thanks for listening, church, and enjoy your day.